Hello, I'm Nathan Leahy and welcome to Next Week in Gaming. So first up, releasing on Monday the 14th of December is a game that's coming out on Early Access. This is by Nexon, the people who make tons and tons of Asian MMOs. And this is Ghost in the Shell First Assault. This is an MMO FPS, which is, another one in the line of many MMO shooters that are coming out, except it's, first person instead of third, which is a lot of stuff we've seen with games like Severium and stuff like that. Except if you look at the tiers for this game on the Early Access, they're doing like a Kickstarter style thing. So you can get normal beta access when the Early Access releases for around about $4 or $5, I think. But then if you look at the later tiers, you then begin to see where all this grind crap is going to come in. Because the final tier is about $30-ish, and it's going to give you 2 tokens for 500,000 GP, which is the in-game currency. Now, 500,000 GP seems like a lot. And if you can't unlock everything in the game for that full $30, then that begs the question, how much are items going to cost? And so I'm slightly worried that this is going to follow the same MapleStory metric in that it's going to take you months and months and months to grind even the meagerest of things. So I don't want to, make anything for certain straight off the bat, but, bear in mind this is a Nexon title, and this is going to involve a lot of grinding. So if you look at games like Blacklight Retribution, there's a fair amount of grinding in there, and I'm not a personal fan of the renting system, but it seems relatively well balanced. But you have to bear in mind that companies like Nexon do have a lot of revenue coming in from, people purchasing in-game currency. So something to bear in mind. Releasing on Tuesday the 15th of December by Offworld Industries is a game called Squad. Now this is coming to Early Access, and this is taking a rather different approach to things. Now Squad is this nice little mix between Battlefield and Insurgency or DayZ, stuff like that. It's got quite a realistic approach to things, but it is featuring these enormous 50 versus 50 maps. So the idea is that this game goes onto the Battlefield bandwagon of, a lot of players against each other across large maps, except, it really pushes up the amount of players that they're going to put in there. And it's not just about, running and gunning with random weapons and a few unlocks, like Battlefield and a lot of other shooters alike, or Insurgency for that matter. It's a lot more squad-based, and these maps are large, and the objective is for you to do squad-based objectives, and there's also some base building there too. So this is quite a tactical version of your generic Battlefield shooter. It looks quite decent. It's done in the Unreal Engine 4, I believe, and it's actually looking relatively interesting. So if you're into that sort of hardcore, almost realistic style military stuff, then this is certainly one to look out for. Also releasing on Tuesday the 15th of December is a game by Long Division. This is called Turnover. This is a top-down 8-bit style stealth title. It follows the same sort of premise as the newer game of Syndicate, where, you've got these megacorps that are fighting over all the revenue, and instead of modern day takeovers, they're doing slightly forced takeovers with defense military that is now going offensive and, just doing a harsh, we are taking this building now. And you just play a standard office worker who then has to escape through all of this chaos and mess and shooting and bullets. And instead of focusing on, attacking enemies or knocking out enemies, it's going the volume approach where you can't directly engage them, but you can use various tools at your disposals to get around them, including other NPCs like rent-a-cops and other people to hack networks and stuff. So it's looking like a relatively nicely packaged little game. The next game is supposedly releasing sometime this winter, not entirely sure when, but this one's by Galactic Bits and it's called Dead Trails with a Z. And this is a really quite an interesting game. It looks like it's got cel-shaded style graphics. It's very much in the style of Telltale games, if you're looking for a graphical comparison. And this game is a lot like a tower defense, but it has a heavy focus on being the sniper. So initially it's going to come out in early access as a single player game, and you have basically a runner who's set to leave one train station, go through a map in designated ways and get to another train station, and on the way you have to protect them by using these zip lines to get to loads and loads of different levels across the map and shoot zombies and keep the runner safe. Once it does release in full early access, it is going to have this full Twitch implementation so that people who are watching people Twitch streaming it can get in depth and actually talk to the player whether or not you want to do that or not. And of course there will be multiplayer input, so you can have one person playing as a sniper and one person playing as the runner. So all in all, it actually looks very much an interesting title, but we have no idea when it's coming out, so don't know when to wait and check that out. Releasing on Friday the 18th of December is a game by Geeks Games, and this is The Fall of Gods. Now this is like a giant cherishing of the original Zelda series. If you remember the Link's Awakening for the Game Boy Color, this game is very much similar to that. It's got quite a heavy focus on that top-down ARPG style, where you're roaming around different maps, solving puzzles, and it's sort of a focus on simple mechanics used to make rather complex puzzles. And so if you have actually played any of the Zelda games on the Game Boys, this game is sort of aiming to be closer and closer and closer to that. So hopefully they don't try and bite off too much in order to be direct comparisons to Zelda or anything like that. But it does look like a really awesome concept. And it's not just a simple case of copy and paste from Zelda as well. They are implementing a few extra different things, you know, collecting different weapons and also brewing potions and riding balloons and stuff like that. So it all sounds very interesting. So that one's coming out at the end of next week. And for all you Zelda Game Boy lovers, that's certainly one for you to watch out for. And finally, onto our review, which will be published on Thursday, the 17th of December at 12:30. This is Helldivers, which I mentioned was going to be last week before I was doing Just Cause 3. And so far, I have had a quick chance to jump into the game. They haven't very kindly given me 2 keys, so I've got a friend who's going to be helping out over the next week. And I've already jumped in. And it is actually quite a lot different to a normal twin-stick shooter. It's not quite as basic and simplistic. It has a lot of different weird mechanics and sort of like a Dance Dance Revolution style bit for these stratagems, which is quite interesting. The graphics are reasonably decent, and it seemed like quite a smooth title. It is very much a seems like it's not taking itself too seriously in a similar way to Broforce, where it's, you know, just like very dude bro, and, you know, we are Super Earth and we are the best people and we're going to exterminate people and deliver them democracy via bullets. So it is looking like a relatively entertaining title so far, but join us next week on Thursday, and of course we will be doing our early impressions video of that sometime this weekend, maybe the start of next week. That's it from us at NextPowerUp. Join us next week on Thursday for our weekly review, and of course next week on Saturday for our next Week in Gaming. Leave your comments in the section below as usual for what you guys have been playing. I did just buy Warlords of Draenor just as it was on offer, and I thought I kind of fancy a little bit of Blizzard after I've been playing some Heroes of the Storm. I haven't yet bought the month's game time, so if you are a World of Warcraft player, feel free to let me know what it's like joining at the end of this expansion. I know it hasn't been received relatively well, but I did play back in Pandaland probably a little over a year ago, so I'm just not quite sure. I haven't made the decision whether to jump into it yet, but I would like to make use of our level 90 boost that I got free with that expansion purchase. So if you're looking for some tech news, go ahead and check out our sister site and sister channel NextPowerUp. That is it from us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.